What? No touch. No touch, Reggie.
Anyone to tang that?
Sing? No, not right now. Okay, I think we're live on YouTube and Facebook. Trying to get live up on the Zoom meeting and Instagram. I don't think it's working really well. Um, Let me just. All right. So this is Dog Training Q&A episode 171. We'll talk briefly about, I don't know, a topic or so, but please feel free to ask as many questions as you like. We're live again on Zoom, YouTube. No, that's YouTube. That's Facebook, and that's Instagram. Um, Come join the meeting if you want a one-on-one conversation. I will. There's. I will put a link in the Facebook Live description. Just give me a second here. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to post that. So anybody who wants to join live can go ahead and do so. It's on my Facebook page. The link is on my Facebook page on the live video that's going on right now. So, that being said, we might as well get started. It's Thursday, April 29th, and we're here to answer any and all questions about dog behavior. If anyone is bold enough to join me one-on-one, you don't even have to you don't have to have the camera on. If you just want to speak straight up audio, that's cool too. But we're doing a live Zoom meeting, and you right now too, so you can come in and you can watch, or you can have a nice little conversation with us, with me, just me. All right, let's get to some questions. Okay. All right. First question is for Tammy. Dog aggression. We have a German Shepherd that was fine before COVID. Hit before COVID hit. We had been socializing him at daycare since a puppy. COVID hit, and just a couple of months off, and me being home all the time now, too, he has aggressive tendencies towards puppies and other dogs. His hair stands up when people come in the house, but once they call his name and pet him, he's fine. I want to put him back into daycare, but afraid he will attack other dogs. Um, Tammy, I don't think you'll necessarily have to be worried about him attacking other dogs at daycare. When I have people who stay at home with their dogs and they've noticed, I guess the dog notices it, the more time a dog spends with their owner, the more time the dog can become a, 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 a butthole. So it's not necessarily because of COVID that you think the dog is going to attack other dogs. It may just be fine off your territory. Sounds like a young dog, so um, I would just you know, let the daycare be aware or become aware of what you're working with, and then um, I think you'd be fine. I don't think you'll necessarily have to worry about that. All right. Those of you who are watching live, please feel free to ask any questions you like about dog behavior. Again, we are on Zoom, so if you guys want to chat with me one-on-one about your dog, then you can click the link in my Facebook post. It's on the live video, and it's also on the post that was before that. So, all right. Next question. Carolyn says, I've been told by a trainer that allowing your dog to sleep in bed with you is a bad idea. That it gives them the same sense of being on your level as far as household hierarchy. Same for allowing them on the couch with you. Do you believe this to be the case as well? Um, so yeah, so like in a wolf pack, um, the alpha male and alpha female sleep together in a den, and no one else is allowed to be in that den, or else they will be attacked. That's just how wolves operate. So that being said, um, I don't I I don't mind if your dog sleeps in bed with you. You know, if it causes no problems, so what? Who am I to tell you not to? If your dog is causing problems or you're having challenges, then you may want to consider adding more structure, which may mean keep the dog off the bed. So um, that's what I would do. Um, yeah, that's it. All right. Okay, how do you recommend feeding dogs who get very excited and amped up on food? Hand, existential, work only. Well, I'm not that complex when it comes to dogs and food. When I feed my dogs, they're all separate. I want them to have their own uh, place where they can relax and not have the threat of any commotion. Um, but when I put the food down, I do expect a little bit of hesitancy instead of the dog being assuming that it can just get it when I put the food down. So I do make them sit before they eat. But I don't feed out of the hand. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's necessary. I don't touch the dog while they eat. I don't do any of that. All I ask is that, again, two things. You sit before you eat. Just don't assume that you can eat the food when I put it down. And two, if I say out or leave it, then I expect the dog to stop eating. And so I can grab the food away from them in case it may be something I don't want them to eat. It's just a nice safety uh, command tool, whatever you want to say. Okay, it looks like we got somebody in the waiting room. All right, let's see. Close that. Hello? Hello?
Hello, can you
Hi
hear
there.
me?
Yes. How are you?
Jeremy?
Yes.
Good, Jeremy. This is Carolyn. You just answered one of my questions regarding our young
Okay.
boxer. And I had some follow-up questions
Sure.
on that because
Sure.
we got him 2 years ago or so, and he was a very sweet dog, never met a stranger. We'd walk him through Lowe's, no problems. I would say in the last year or so, he has become more defensive of our house.
Okay.
He goes to daycare daily, and initially at daycare he was socializing with other dogs, very friendly, played well. The daycare has said there were a couple of instances of him not behaving well with other dogs, and so they have actually had to take him out of any group play now. So I'm just concerned about a trend with him, and I don't know how to curb this trend he sits, when he's at home, he sits in the front window and kind of can survey the front yard.
Yep.
And when like we have delivery people come up now, he is very aggressive at the window. And I'm almost afraid to let people in the house now. I put him in a crate just because I'm concerned about how he's going to react with somebody coming in the home. So this trend is disturbing to me, and I don't know how to curtail it. I talk to trainers, I talk to people in rescue, and they say, well, you have to assert yourself as the alpha dog in the household. And I don't exactly know what they mean by that.
Yeah, we'll have to explore that. Okay. How old's the dog again?
I can't remember exactly when we got him. He was estimated to be about 8 months old. He was a stray.
Okay.
So we don't know his exact age. I want to say between 3 and 4 right now.
Okay. And okay, so the dog is a little bit acting up a little bit in the dog daycare. And you said that the dog is kind of being a little territorial of the home as of recent.
Yes.
Okay. Territorial with what exactly? Dogs, mailman, or just strangers?
Well, there are no other dogs coming into the home because of his behavior. Delivery men, he's gotten kind of used to. My concern now is family members that don't come to the home regularly. Males, he will kind of lose it at the window. So I'm afraid to even let these people in the house.
Okay. All right. So what you want to do overall is evaluate the dog's general attitude. And because it sounds like many of the human aggressive dogs, or it doesn't matter, human aggressive or dog aggressive, it doesn't really matter. When dogs decide to do extreme behaviors, we have to check their attitude overall, which just means how much of what they want are they getting by doing something. And so dogs will shut off the rest of the world if they get everything they want within within the household. So if the dog is pushy for attention and or following you around the house, or allowed to just dictate more so than the parents, then the dog is free to start to pick and choose who it gets along with, when it gets to, and what to do. So overall, the dog, in my opinion, sounds like it needs to be a little bit more humble. And so one way to kind of reverse that is to make him work for what he wants. Always provide him with what he needs, but he kind of sounds like he's got a really good life. Like
he's kind of big man on campus right now.
So with that attitude comes with the nonstop barking and picky and choosy. With that attitude, he's saying, I kind of am the big man on campus, and there he is right there.
That's Lucas, yeah.
That's the one we're talking about?
That's him. Yes, and I have to say also that he lives in a household with a 14-year-old border collie lab mix, and they get along well. She's not overtly friendly. He knows his boundaries as far as leaving her alone. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So again, you want to have a couple of things going on. You want to make sure the dog feels safe within your household too. If the dog is barking while you're home and you can't necessarily control it, give him the gift of the freedom of that obligation. And so you want to be able to say, hey, you can relax, and the dog actually take that as something he should do, as opposed to saying, I'm just going to bark. I don't really care what you say, but I just need to bark and bark and bark. You will leave the door open for the dog to become choosy with who they like and that. But again, we want to take control as opposed to allowing the dog to take control. So go ahead.
I get what you're saying. He does real well in a crate. When we leave him, he's separated from his older sister, that he
Why is he in a
stands
crate
for.
when you leave? Does he tear up stuff yet?
No, he doesn't. I'm just, my concern is he's a very strong dog and
Yeah,
she's, 14 years old, and I just don't want anything to happen while I'm gone.
sure, sure.
Sometimes they are always separated. Sometimes she has the back bedroom. Sometimes he has the rest of the household. Sometimes he's in a crate and she has the whole household. So it's not that
Sure,
he's
sure.
regularly crated versus free roaming. He does not get into anything.
Okay, that's good. Well,
It's
yeah,
just really, I guess it's just wanting to take him down a peg and let him know that he doesn't need to
right,
take that role.
right, right. Yes. So you do know that that's important to know that you have to reverse that. You have to be able to tell your dog to do something and they actually consider you in that situation. And that takes a little bit of
Yeah.
work. That takes a little bit of he may need some professional help with that for sure. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah.
We're
So,
in Texas. I just wish we were closer because he would be coming to see you.
oh, I appreciate that. Well, I know. You know what? What part of Texas are you in?
We're West Texas in San Angelo, kind of around Abilene area.
All right. Well, I have a big network of colleagues that, if you like, I can refer to you. I am a part of a pretty big organization that has trainers all over the
That would be
United States.
awesome. I would appreciate that
Yeah.
because he is a good boy. It's just that I see this trend and
Yeah.
it's bothersome to us.
Yeah. It's a difficult one. It's not very easy. He's not deaf, is he? He can hear
No,
well.
no, he's not.
That's good. Okay. All right.
He's a good
Well,
boy for the most part. Thank you so much.
listen. You somehow DM me or
Yes.
let me know, and I can give you the references from Texas, and hopefully you can find someone who can help you out.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thanks
Jeremy.
for being a part of it.
Hmm.
Bye bye.
Bye.
So yeah, guys, look, listen. I mean, this is that's kind of what to expect. I mean, I can dig a little deeper with the Zoom meetings. I kind of like it. It's kind of like a call in, but I think it adds a little bit more value than just answering some questions. And I feel free to ask as many questions as you like, or join the Zoom meeting. I'm gonna post the link is above, so if you want to join in on Zoom, you can. Um, but if you like to just type your question, that's just fine too. Okay, I think I got a question on YouTube that I have to. Evan says, "How do you teach a puppy its name?" Um, so what you want to do is take a walk around the yard, and once the puppy gets distracted, once you notice the puppy getting distracted, you bend down and you call its name until it sees you, and then you say, "Good boy, good girl," all the way until you, and then pet the dog, and then do it, and then repeat over and over again. Easiest way: take a walk, wait till the dog gets distracted, create some little bit more distance, bend down, call his name, celebrate, and repeat that. That's a good way. All right, let's keep moving. My daughter has recently my daughter was recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Prior to her diagnosis, she noticed our dog became very clingy to her. I've heard that he can be taught to an alert dog to her dipping low to her on her blood sugar. I don't have it in I don't have it in me for that kind of training. Would you be able to do that kind of training? And if so, what would the cost be? No, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't. I'm not a. There is a diabetes alert dog trainer out in western Wisconsin. So you may want to just Google diabetes detection dog or diabetes alert dog, Wisconsin. They may be able to. I forget her name. Her name is like Linda something, but she'd be able to be a better resource for myself because I do think she's a breeder of that specific uh, job service. So maybe that may be a better option for you. But for me, I don't do that type of training. So okay, one of my dogs is fixated on squirrels and freaks out about them while on walks. Any suggestions? Yeah, you'll have to try and get your dog to walk loose leash beside you. And the best way to do that is a slip lead or a prong collar. You're welcome. Um, no harness is going to get that. But what you're doing when you have a loose leash walking dog is a dog who has a job to do, which is to stay by your side, loose leash. And it can't necessarily fully indulge in the squirrels and whatever else may be going on, but you want to give the dog a job to do and keeps you there for however long the dog wants. So it's more so about again adding more structure to your walk, which will help with any distraction. Hope that makes sense. You guys feel free to ask more than one question. Um, yeah. We will be having our pack walk this Saturday. For those of you who are past clients who are watching, bring your behind out there and let's have a good walk. You're welcome. Bring your butt behind. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Any tips on how to get a dog to be less fearful of meeting new people, especially men? Our foster dog, our foster dog is fearful of new people and will bark and sometimes bare teeth. Yeah, so like I said earlier, I did kind of explain that earlier, but I'll explain it to you again, or to I'll explain it again. Um, okay, so when it comes to fearful dogs, what the hell? When it comes to dogs that are fearful of men, again, that dog is being a little bit picky and needs to eat some humble pie in the sense where if the dog's cup is full with affection, attention, whatever it wants from the owners, some dogs tend to put up a wall and can be selective of who they get along with or not. But we don't want that. We want our dogs to be able to take our word for it, so much so that they invite our guests. They are excited to see our guests as they are us. And so when guests come over, the dog must need you to control him or her, whoever. The dog must need this from you. If you can take control, they won't. And if you take control, you have a much better chance of the dog taking um, of the dogs accepting whoever comes in the house. So, again, very important. Most dogs, when that door opens, want to take control, whether it be excitement, whether it be fearful, aggressive, it doesn't matter. No dog should be allowed to do something obsessively over and over and over again. There should be, you almost want the dog to be not predictable in that sense. Everyone has problems with unpredictable dogs, but when I walk in the door, I want my dogs to be laying down on their bed, chilling. So when guests come over, they're doing the same thing. Guests don't have a big dog in their face, that type of deal. Okay, hope that helps. Um, Hello. In the past 2 weeks, my dog won't go to the bathroom outside and will only go inside. Oh, Lord. We can walk for like an hour and he doesn't do anything but goes as soon as he gets inside. We put him in his crate if he doesn't go, but just goes in his crate. You're welcome. Okay, hold on. Don't do anything, but as soon as he goes inside, we put him in the crate if he doesn't go, but he just goes in his crate. How big is the crate? The crate should be the correct size to where the dog will have to choose to hold it or lay in it. That's what makes the dog hold it and learn how to hold their pee and poop if they're actually in a crate that they can't get away from it necessarily. So what I would try too, if you have a backyard, is just leave him in the backyard. If you don't have a fence and you're worried about him going away, get a tie out. But but the dog will go again if you make it uncomfortable for him to well, not make him uncomfortable, but put him in that crate and make him decide whether to be laying in it or hold it. And that doesn't take a lot of time, but get in the routine of when you wake up, you take him where you want him to go the entire day. Put him on a tie out if you have to, or in that backyard. But if he's not pooping on a walk, um, then I'd leave him in the backyard for a while. And again, if he doesn't, I'll put him in the crate, wait for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, try it again, bring him outside. All right. Hey guys, those of you who are watching, feel free to join in my Zoom. My Zoom is open. We can talk face to face or just voice to voice. And the link is at the top of this Facebook feed questions. So go up to the top, click in, and we can have a one-on-one conversation if you like. It's open as long as I'm on the TV. As long as I'm on the screen, it'll be open for people. All right. Okay, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and Zoom. So, give me those questions. All right, we have an 8-month-old Dotson Yorkie mix. We were hoping to wait until after he was a year old for neutering for bone/hip growth, but he is marking pee everywhere. We have 2 other dogs and he is determined to be the boss. Any tips for stopping this behavior in the meantime? Or should we just go ahead and get him fixed now? Well, just limit the amount of free roam he has unsupervised. Let's start with that. If you don't already, if you're doing this already, then cool. But maybe the dog needs to be a little bit more supervised and not have too much free roam to where he can get into wanting to become territorial. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be bad for the next 2 months too. I I don't, I'm no medical expert, so I'm not gonna tell you when to neuter your dog or when not to, but if it was my dog, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably wait for a year. I'd like to, but I definitely would. I definitely empathize with the dog peeing inside your home. That's not cool. Uh, the other thing is, yeah. So if he's determined to be the boss, um, then that may just be who he is genetically, but neutering doesn't necessarily stop it either. You know, I have dogs who mark, 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 and they don't have they're not fixed. So sometimes it doesn't even solve the problem. You know, might be best to wait. We'll see. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, well, let's see if we got any more questions on Facebook. I guess I can talk a little bit about choosing the right dog trainer besides me. Um, so when it comes to choosing a dog trainer, I really want to make sure people can distinguish between. I just want people to really be able to pick the right trainer based on what their needs are and how to really, because within the industry, man, there's few and far between who actually work with aggressive dogs and can show you their work too. Um, so there are a lot of trainers out there who will say they work with aggressive dogs and then they don't do board and trains, which I think is absolutely crazy. I think when it comes to aggression or separation anxiety or leash reactivity, um, fear, whatever it may be, those dogs can greatly benefit from a board and train. They need to be able to get away from their uh, day in, day out routine. They need to be able to go to college, so to speak. And so when you're dealing with aggressive dogs, you need to be able to give the dog that time away with someone who knows how to sort of hold their hand through the issues that they are facing, like dog aggression, for example. First and foremost, the dog needs to spend a lot of time with other dogs who are balanced and not antisocial. The second thing is the trainer needs to get to know the dog. And the dog needs to be able to trust the trainer too. It's just not going to happen if we're doing private lessons, an hour once a week or an hour twice a week. The trainer does not get to know the dog. It can only tell you then general advice. It can't tell you little quirks about the personality of the dog. That's why I always liked keeping dogs here because I can give a real good diagnosis of who that dog is for the rest of the dog's life. So it doesn't just show up when I can tell the owners exactly how to approach a situation. But when the dog goes home and months after, years after, they call me up and say, "Hey, we need to get so and so back on track," then because I know I really got to know the dog, I can give them a much better advice on what to do to get the dog back on track. So it's just if you don't have a trainer who is, in my opinion, wanting to get to know your dog, no matter how aggressive they are or whatever it is, then how much good how what is the level of advice they can actually give you that's legit? Because again, they can talk in general. They can't talk specifics though. They don't deeply know how sensitive your dog is to different tools. different environments. Day in, day out, as dogs get comfortable, they will start to show their butt, show who they are, because they're habitually getting what they want. If a dog is habitually getting what they want at home day in, day out, then they start to become pushy because they want things to be the same. And when a trainer starts to see that from your dog, that's when the magic happens. Because now we can teach the dog to learn how to get what they want in a different way, which is no biting, no barking, no jumping, no separation anxiety. All those things you can get, all of those, you can get all of what you want when you're calm, but you can't be pushy to get what you want. And that's again what needs to have the most time that's dedicated so a dog realizes that there are other ways to get what you want instead of being pushy, because no aggression comes without those pushy behaviors. There's always those other behaviors that you can clean up on, and you don't even have to really focus on the dog being aggressive. But no dog should jump that is aggressive ever. Should make that not a rule. No dog should nonstop bark if they're aggressive, which means they bark at stuff and you say quiet and they just blow you off. No dog should not listen to come when called. So when you call that dog, you should come. The dog should come. So if you can clean up those three things, then the stuff about aggression really starts to mean less and less and less, because you've kind of given the dog some tools to rely more on you and what you want versus what they want, in addition to their little insecurities that's also driving them to do uh, what they want or feel is necessary. That was a lot. All right. How do we get your puppy? How do you get your puppy to play with cats without hurting them or just leave the cats alone in general? Largely depends on if your cat is declawed or not. Um, but you can create avoidance through you and what you do. You just have to have something that the dog would like to avoid versus the enjoyment it has for the cats. How do you get your dog to play with cats? I don't. Yeah, it's not necessarily about play. It's more so about um, if the dogs can respect the cats. But that may mean the dog must be able to listen to you at a high level first, because the cats need to see you and your ability to take control of the dog. Because I deal with a lot of cats and dogs stuff. A lot of dogs chase cats, this and that. When the cool thing is, when you start to control the dog and the cat sees you do that, then the cat starts to come out again, starts to explore again, and that. But that cat was looking at you, the owner, and saying, "This dog crazy, and you ain't doing about it." So it's it's about control long enough to where the dog doesn't give a crap about it, or is at least friendly, calm, and cool with the cat. All right. All right. V says, Joy, my Malinois still barks at dogs and pounces on the window. Oh no. I use a zap, but she tends to ignore me now. Now, I try calling her when she starts, but her recall at that time is very juicy. All right. What level of the e-collar? They are not declawed. Well, they should be able to get those dirty dogs back. They should be able to defend themselves, you know? Um, yeah. They should be able to let the dogs know what's up. All right, but back to you, V. Okay, you got Joy. What level of the e-collar are you working with? How about making sure the e-collar's on tight, right, and charged. And then, um, if you're still working at, let's just say for Joy, 15, then go up to 20 and 30. Um, but remember to use your voice while you're using it so that the dog can choose to listen to your voice. But joy has got to come, or just be quiet when you say no, or be quiet. Also, this put pressure on her with just your body presence. So if you hear Joy going off like a firecracker, go over there and tell her to go in her crate or something like that, you know, and really let her decide to listen to you versus listening to herself. All right. Thanks for checking in. Joy is a Malinois. And if you guys know what a Belgian Malinois is, if you don't, Google it. But if you do, or if you don't, stay the hell away. Do not get that breed. Um, those dogs are for dog trainers, really. Um, well, text me too, V. We can talk more about it. Those dogs are for dog trainers, man, mostly, or cop dog, you know, police dogs, canine dogs. But they're not necessarily for the average pet owner. They're just too drivey, too prey driven, and they're not easy. All right. And lastly, again, once again, there is a Zoom link that you guys can join the conversation one on one if you like, or if you don't like, you don't have to. You can just continue to ask questions. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and Zoom. I'm in the Zoom room all alone. That's okay. Um, let's just check these other outlets here. Okay. I think I got one more question, guys, on Facebook. Okay, we recently adopted a 9-month-old rescue puppy that was saved from a puppy mill. She hates the crate, and as soon as we get the leash out, she puts the brakes on. Any suggestions? She's not food motivated and doesn't take toys, play with them, so I'm not sure how to get comfortable with things. Okay, so how you get a dog to become comfortable with you is, guys, I hate to say it, but you gotta give the dog something to do. All right, I got dogs who want to put their teeth all up in me, and I got to get comfortable with that dog very quickly. Only got 3 weeks, and so I got to get that dog to be very comfortable with me. And what I find to be a good way is to take the dog on a walk. I don't touch the dog. I don't talk to the dog. I don't give the dog treats. We're just walking, man. We're two partners walking into the sunset. And it's peaceful. It's nice. So, um, and then I just take it slow from there, over and over and over. Um, Structure provides safety. Not being too obtrusive with the dog, allowing the dog to come to you, keeping a leash on the dog um, until it starts to become comfortable with you is key too, so that you don't have to grab the dog and that to put collars on and stuff. So let the dog drag you, not drag you, let the dog drag a leash around the house. And again, give the dog a lot of things to do. A crate time, some peaceful crate time, some peaceful on their bedtime, and then obviously exercise. But the dog probably isn't comfortable with you, and and doesn't know you to take your word for it inside of the crate too. So when it comes to separation anxiety, I think it have what you have to have is non-negotiable obedience inside the crate. When you tell your dog to sit or down in the crate, it should do so. That's how you're going to keep a dog from, again, being able to reach certain levels of anxiety that seem to be unhealthy. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Excuse me. Suggestions on training a deaf dog that doesn't have great sight. Whoa. Um, well, it depends on how. Usually, if a dog is deaf, they have they're really aware with their eyesight. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would be able to tell you without really knowing that dog, because I need to evaluate how much the dog is can see with their hands, and how responsive they are to touch too, um, because you can teach a dog, and obviously you can kind of have sign language for a dog like yours, um, because their eyes will be more sensitive and they're sensitive to touch. Will be a lot more to compensate what they can't hear. And so I have to get to know um, what what kind of training you would want. You know what I mean? And um, and or what challenges you're having to better guide you on the dog. Um, I do train deaf dogs with hand signals and a vibration collar too. You know, that takes time, but and some good conditioning, but that would be a good option as well. Okay, but thank you for your question, and feel free to ask another. All right, we have a female 9 week old German Shepherd. What could we what could be the cause of random accidents in the house? She has no kennel accidents. She will go outside just fine, bring her in, hang out, but with minimal freedom, and she will go pee on a rug. The cause of it is that she's 9 weeks, and you want to make sure you monitor the uh, the water intake, but also um, have more supervision of her. You know, dogs tend to act a little bit different right before they go. You'll have to just recognize that and pop her out, or give her less time to, again, free roam unsupervised. Um, you can even allow her to drag a leash, but you know they don't need much time, much, maybe even cut back on the minimum freedom you're talking about. Give more, give more uh, rest time in the crate. But don't be too hard on yourself. It's 9 weeks, 9 weeks old. It's just going to get better on its own anyway. The more, not if you can make it, if you can do a good 80%, it'll fix itself. 9 weeks again, it's just still really old, or really young, really young to expect perfection. And female dogs learn how to hold it better than male dogs, or they just obviously don't mark as much. Uh, so just give it some time. Just try and get that dog out every time you feel the dog needs to come out. Should be good to go. My dog is 7 months. My puppy's 7 months, and the dog has had probably three accidents in the house. No pooping, just peeing. All right, thanks for your question, and feel free to ask another. Our lab loses her ish when my husband and little one play. Any suggestions? She's calm until they get riled up. Then she freaks out, barks, and wants to get in there. We try crating her, letting her out, letting her be involved, and keeping her out, but other side of the gate, a little lost at how to control it. So, the best way you can control it is to give the dog a job to do that is non negotiable. And that job for me would be to tell her to go lay down. Basically, give her the middle finger, say, get the hell on out of here. You don't get to control this situation. So, if she has a bed nearby, put her in the bed. But don't lock her up. You want her to have the option to say, no, I'm not doing it. And then work through that sort of stubbornness, that sort of refusal. That's when you're going to get the dog to be able to control themselves no matter what's going on. So, again, the most important thing is you take control of the dog who thinks they need to control that situation. Because it's just an unstable situation in that dog's mind, and the dog wants to make things more calm. It's just the same thing as a dog going after a vacuum, dog going after a bike, a car, a snowmobile, a snowblower. I've heard it all. All right. Also, we have two dogs. Do you suggest they come together? Come together for what? We're thinking of sending one, but worried he will revert to his behavior once he's around the other. Um, so you can do one or two things. You can send them both. That would be the best. Send one, the worst, and then what you take from the worst and what I show you, you can apply to the second. That would be second best suggestion. So yeah, both would be best. One would be second best. All right, Erica says another question about our foster dog, German Shepherd, barking in the crate. How do we break that habit? She will listen about 80% of the time when I do a firm no down command, but other times she will just bark, especially at night we make sure she has used the bathroom. Okay. Um thank you. Okay, so barking inside the crate. You're going to need a non-negotiable down. And again, you may have one that's 80%, but have one that's 100%. That's possible. You may need to add a tool though. You know what I mean? If the dog just doesn't listen to your word good enough, you may have to add a training tool to get that non negotiable down. And we can talk about those. I don't want to talk about it here because I'll have to over explain myself. But if you'd like to know what I would suggest, DM me and I can give you some better advice. Okay? Thank you for your question. All right, you guys, I think we're going to end it. Whoa, hold on now. Mish said, wait a minute. I got one more question, guys. Okay. Have a 3-year-old pit bull that we took in when he was 2 years old. He was great at first, but a couple months after we took him in, he had 2 bite incidents. Ooh. A couple months after we took him in, we had 2 bite incidents, and he's now considered a dangerous dog by the city. He's about 100 pounds and is strong and jumps. He'll knock over the kids and step on their feet. We have tried to train him by using various shock collars, but doesn't seem to work. We've been looking at your training programs as well, but just can't afford it right now. We can't rehome him because we don't want him to have any incidents with anyone else or put him down. Honestly, out of options. What can we do? Well, I would suggest that you check out this place called for the Beckett School for Dogs, Dog Training and Rehabilitation. Beckett, 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 the Beckett. They are around my area, and her name is Stephanie, and she does good work. Give it a shot. Okay, good luck. We do have an e-collar. We came and did training with you for our Lady German Shepherd and bought the one you suggested. Okay, so keep the e-collar on at night and put it by your bed. If you hear her barking, wake up, press the button, and go back to sleep. All right. Okay, let me see. All right, guys, I think we're going to be heading after this. I don't see any more questions, and it's 7:30, which means we've been here for an hour, and I gots to go. I appreciate you guys being here. There you go, Jennifer. Thank you for that. The Beckett School of Canine Training and Rehabilitation. That's it right there. Yeah, we'll be here next. Maybe not next week. Well, yeah, we'll be here next week for sure because the dogs are coming in on May 2nd. So thank you guys for your questions. And yeah, give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe. I don't care what it is. Thank you guys for watching.